Alrighty everyone, welcome back. Happy Thursday everybody. I hope you're all having an amazing week so far as we approach this weekend. And there's a lot of things happening right now between Bob Iger after he got his extension for 2026, of course, as CEO, and we all expected this to happen, by the way. We all expected that to actually get extended. It's right around that time frame, being, of course, it is now the middle point almost of July, and there's a lot of things also going on over at Lucasfilm with Kathleen Kennedy and more, and why it really is spelling doom and chaos over at Disney. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what the situation is involving the Lucasfilm Purge, quote unquote, and what's going on with Bob Iger. Now, we know that Bob Iger is in a phase of damage control and desperation to really just save his own image, right? That's what it's all about right now. After what happened with Elemental, Indiana Jones 5, Galactic Starcruiser Experience, those three big fails are big losses for Disney. And the upcoming Haunted Mansion, we'll have to wait and see how that performs at the box office. You know, it arrives on July 28th, by the way. Following that, you know, things like the Marvels, I believe, is going to be a major bomb. In fact, I call it the bomb of all bombs, or the mother of all, you know, franchise killers, essentially, by Disney. Now, we know that everything related to Bob Iger right now is that he also is trying to prove himself to the board and the shareholders, and one of which has a lot to do with this. Now, right now, Bob Iger is beginning to enhance his legacy at Disney by not only giving himself more time to do so with his renewed contract until 2026, but also with Lucasfilm and the entire Star Wars franchise. One major development surrounding Iger involves the progression of the Lucasfilm Purge that is involved, of course, a complete revamping of the Star Wars roadmap. As of now, Bob Iger is said to be wiping over 10 Star Wars TV shows that were unannounced that served both for live action and or animated purposes. This also serves a couple of Star Wars movies that too went unannounced, that those films too have been completely cancelled and wiped off the roadmap after Disney's initial emergency meetings took place just days ago. To make matters even more complicated, the entire Lucasfilm Purge is planned to take a total of 2 whole years, slowly but surely. This way it does not interrupt with production on existing Star Wars material. This will include the firing of Lucasfilm employees, certain cast members and crew, as well as completely ridding of specific departments at Lucasfilm and restructuring those to give Lucasfilm a better reputation, essentially. Now, let me say one thing about Iger here is that what I think he is doing right now should have been done at least years ago when whatever happened with The Last Jedi by Rian Johnson and Kennedy. This should have been done a very long time ago. Now, do I think that this is really going to be a fix for Lucasfilm? Well, that really is all highly dependent on who else he's going to hire. Who's going to take their place of these Lucasfilm employees, as well as some of the creatives, as well as the the story group, I should say. That too is going to get a little revamped there at Lucasfilm as well. Now, again, nothing is ever a magic pill. Let's be very honest here. Nothing is ever a magic pill where you can just do this or that and things are going to be a-okay at the snap of a finger. It's not going to happen just like that. That's why they really have to take their time with this, and they really have to do it fast in a way, starting like right during this month of July, and they want to get on this as much as they can because they know that 2024 is going to be a very big year for Disney. You know, a very big, controversial year, I must add, with what's going on with Snow White and other projects out there. It's not looking good, let's just say that. Now, the other thing about this is that we know that Iger has been really in a constant shakeup with the board for major reasons. And obviously the board, you know, they want to see what Iger can do for the rest of this year with Disney's Wish, the Marvels, and Haunted Mansion. Those are the big threes right now that Iger has to prove himself to the actual board for, in order for him, of course, to, you know, really kind of show him that, yeah, he can pull things off and get out of a lot of failures. I don't believe he's going to pull it off, but we'll have to wait and see, right? So on top of this, Iger is described to be that desperate to save his legacy after what happened with Galaxy's Edge and its Galactic Star Cruiser experience closing by this September. Lucasfilm also is said to have major consequences because of what happened with Indy 5 and its box office failure. Some of Kennedy's loyalists will be fired at Lucasfilm in the coming months and replaced from other Star Wars shows to be built up. It's said that D23, that is now, of course, going to have a very limited amount of Star Wars announcements, as opposed to the planned 10 TV show announcements, which that's crazy, by the way, and a handful of other Star Wars films. Those will all now be replaced with others and slowly announced throughout 2024 via their earnings calls. Now, Bob Iger is also described to be doing this out of damage control and the way to prove himself to the board and the shareholders, etc. Now, again, the reason why they have to make these new announcements throughout 2024 during their earnings calls is that there is no Star Wars Celebration for next year. Nothing at all, alright? So you're not going to see Celebration until 2025 in Japan, I believe is the location. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's going to be a while, and that's why, 2024 is going to be all about making these announcements on a phone call, essentially. And, that's where we are today. That's where Star Wars is at. So, that's another thing, is that we were supposed to get all these major announcements at D23 for Star Wars, especially with gigantic movies and tons of Star Wars shows, which honestly I think it would have been a little too much of an overload. Yeah, I feel like when you have that many projects coming out, you're just like, okay, are they even going to happen? Are any of these projects really going to meet reality? Because look at what happened with Rangers of the New Republic, or a handful of other Star Wars movies and shows out there that never made it. Even the Lando series now, by the way, guys, is facing a lot of trouble after Phoebe Waller-Bridge got fired from that show by Disney. And Donald Glover reportedly has little to no interest in doing this role. That's why he's focused on his own career. Look, he's got his own thing going on, right? In the music industry and the film industry and whatnot. He's a very busy man, and that's also a very big factor as to why that's not moving forward, really. And yes, by the way, the Lando series is a thing. If you guys have not heard about this, Kathleen Kennedy herself announced it on stage. What was it, like 2 years ago? So, this is interesting to say the least about this Lucasfilm Purge. Also, the fact that they will be restructuring some of the departments at Lucasfilm, including the story group. And we talked about this a couple months ago, about how this was in the early works. And look, like I said before, do I really think that this is going to be a magic pill? Absolutely not. I think that it's going to improve things, maybe, but it's going to take a lot of time and effort and focus to really just understand, what's going on here. Honestly, what they really should do, what really should happen is the board needs to be changed out, Bob Iger needs to be changed out, Kathleen Kennedy needs to be fired, end of story, and then work from there. I mean, that's the real root of the problem. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.